If you want to look good, you hit up Cole Harris.
Amazing place to be, amazing place to live, amazing place to learn new things, try new foods, see new cultures. We just started importing suits here and there for friends.
I always joke around with you that you made a mistake.
I like playing that game.
Yeah.
I like playing. That's why I started another company as well. I just like the game for the game itself.
Because it's not just about, writing loans for people anymore. It's like, how do we grow a business? More about the relationships between people and not so much about the monetary value of just slinging a loan for somebody.
To play the game and to play it on a high level, you just got to have a few skill sets.
Next year.
Five years ago, I was still at HM Cole full time and had no idea I'd even be doing what I'm doing at Nourished now. Who knows what's going to happen?
I'm excited for this one. Cole Harris is the man. If you want to look good, you hit up Cole Harris. Everybody in Davis County, Weber County, they're all wearing HM Cole. Just custom suits, dude.
Way wider than Davis and Weber County.
We'll dive into a lot of that. But I'm excited about this one. Like every single one of them. Cole, Cole came home off the mission, started a suit company. It's been very successful. It's blown up quite a bit. Started a drink company. We'll get into that as well. So Cole's been very successful as far as startup. And that's kind of what we want to dive into here is, how did you even get going? What are the thought process behind that? But before we dive into a lot of that with every single person that's on here, we always chat about where'd you grow up, Cole? What was family life like? What are your parents like? You know what I'm saying? How did that kind of help you become who you are today? So let's start off with that. Where did you grow up?
Yeah, born and raised here in Utah. Went to Davis High. So did you.
What's funny, dude, is whenever we say Davis High, it's everybody that didn't go there. It's the worst reaction ever. Just a bunch of rich kids. Yet I remember having no money, so I don't really understand that one.
Yeah, I grew up very much middle class. Definitely didn't come from money, but you could say two parents that loved me, supported me. In that way, I won the lottery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Born in this day and age, you look at, where you come from, what your opportunities are. And in that sense, I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah.
Again, didn't come from money, but still just to have parents that love you and support you, to have opportunities in life, to be born in the golden age of, the internet, e-commerce, opportunities like that. Definitely been lucky in that sense.
Yeah.
Diehard snow skier.
Is that what your family did? Is that what your mom and dad loved to do? Snow skiing, water skiing, everything?
Mm-hmm. Snow ski, water ski. I picked up mountain biking on my own. My dad never did that with me, but all things outdoors.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. It's awesome, dude.
Love it, dude. I'm the Patagonia guy, as you say.
We were joking around that before. Obviously, when I met you, Cole, you were in the title business. I know your parents have been in that business a long, long time. What was it like growing up with them doing title work on, houses, mortgages, everything like that? Is it something that you thought hey, I want to run down that road? This could be an option? Or what was your thoughts kind of watching your mom and dad do that?
Yeah, coming out of high school, honestly, my only path forward for me was go to Weber State and probably go into banking or the title business.
Yeah.
Nobody really sat me down and said, you can go to Harvard, you can go to Stanford, you can do this or that or whatever you want, really. It was just kind of, neither of my parents graduated from college. None of my siblings did either. 3 older sisters. And so it was just kind of go to Weber State, maybe. I worked at Zions Bank as a teller when I got back from my mission.
Yeah.
Started working with my dad in the title business.
Yeah.
So I didn't really think that far outside the box in that regard. My dad had a good life, good job, good benefits, pretty conservative guy. So I just kind of thought the same way.
It's kind of funny, dude. You're like a product of your surroundings, right? You just don't really understand.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to be that way with my kids. I really want to instill that in them, that they can definitely think outside the box.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So kind of growing up in Kaysville, Cole, obviously, I've known you for quite a while. I think one of the first times I ever saw you, the suit game was just on point. And I just remember thinking man, I look like crap. I probably had some Nike polo on, thought I was cool. And then it's just this guy with some sick suit coat walks in and it's this guy's a baller, But
It was in the singles ward, I remember. It was.
God, I was there for a long time too, Cole.
Yeah.
No, but I kind of want to, if you're okay with it, let's chat about your dad a little bit, right? It's been a couple years now since your dad passed away.
Almost 5, yeah.
Yeah. How old were you when that happened? And, I guess give us a little background on what your dad went through, what it was like for your family, what it was like for you, kind of losing him at a young age. And, probably one of the, like, what do you miss the most about it?
Yeah. Yeah, crazy story. I just turned 28, I believe. This is almost 5 years ago. And he was perfectly healthy. Just run a half marathon. No pre-existing conditions whatsoever. And he's just driving down the freeway one day and has a stroke, passes out. Wakes up, doesn't know where he is, doesn't know what he's doing. Take him to the ER. Do a quick CT scan, find a brain tumor, ended up passing away 3 weeks later. Pretty wild.
So it went quick.
Yeah, very quick.
What was it like for like your mom, obviously your siblings, for you guys? Like, how do you process that and how do you guys go through that?
Yeah, it was, I think we all take our own approach with grief, It's funny, everybody deals with it their own way. I'm very much a fixer, Oldest boy is just kind of my responsibility, my duty to step up, manage finances, figure out life insurance payments, pay off the house, make sure my mom's taken care of, figure out a budget for her, get her a new car, sold her house, get a new house. And for really a full year, I was in just like fix it mode,
Yeah.
It was just kind of my responsibility, my duty. And I mean, of course, like, it's devastating and you mourn and things like that. But he died so close to Memorial Day that the following year rolled around, and on Memorial Day, I realized I hadn't even gone to see his grave yet.
Really? Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I don't even have a good reason why. It's just like I was in that mode, I'm in fix it mode. And I think that's when it really hit me, is about a year later. And that's kind of when the dust settles, like you're past your first, Thanksgiving and Christmas, you're past your first like anniversary and things like that. And then it starts to get pretty lonely for my mom.
Yeah.
And things really settle in, and like the newness is kind of worn off. The phone calls stop coming, and you kind of see her really embrace that this is her like new normal. You know what I mean? And so it was wild. I mean, think about him every day. It's crazy.
Like, what's the one thing that like you wish the most? I mean, is it just him being with your kids? Is it
definitely,
you guys hanging out, going skiing, stuff like that? Like what's probably the worst part about it?
Yeah, it's the fact that my kids will never know him.
Yeah.
And my wife's parents are divorced, and her dad lives down southern Utah. We don't see him too much either, so they don't really have a grandpa in their life at all. Yeah. And so it's a huge bummer.
Yeah.
Huge bummer for sure.
That stuff.
Yeah. I feel like I got, 27, 28 good years. I mean, obviously you want more, but the fact that my kids just won't know who he is, it's definitely the tough one.
Yeah, the heartbreaking side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to shift into kind of your mission. Where'd you go on your mission?
Bangkok, Thailand.
This is where it all started, dude.
Yeah.
Give me, obviously, we were supposed to go to, me and my wife were supposed to go to Thailand. We were like the week of COVID when the world shut down. We were supposed to jump on a jet.
You did not want to be in Thailand during COVID, so that's good.
But when you look at the pictures, you look at the beaches, you look at the monkeys, you look at the, all the animals in the water.
I was, but yeah.
But it's like the destination. So I guess talk to us on Bangkok. Talk to us. I know you've gone obviously back with the suit company quite a few times to Thailand, but give us an idea as a missionary, like what it was like being in Thailand. Just living there, seeing the people, kind of, what was the fun part about it?
Yeah, Bangkok's wild, man. 65 million people, 99.9% Buddhist, no rules. It's open 24/7.
Really?
And so I lived in downtown Bangkok for a year. I lived out in the rice fields for another year. And it's amazing. Amazing place to be, amazing place to live, amazing place to learn new things, try new foods, see new cultures. I mean, you get outside the box, and I mean, I had traveled a little bit in high school. Yeah. I'd been to Mexico with my family is all, but that's my first like real international experience. And And you just see the world completely differently at that point. You know, people don't think how you think. They don't look how you look. They don't think the same things are important. They don't have the same goals. They don't have the same aspirations. They don't even think family life should be the same. And so I think anybody who hasn't had, obviously you don't need a 2-year experience in a foreign country, but anybody who can get out and travel, I think is always going to have that perspective that people who don't have. You know?
Talk to me about Buddhism, because a lot of like I went to Peru, so I mean you're talking straight up Catholics everywhere, right? And you know a couple other religions that are down there, but we never ran into like a full on different person that we're talking about, right? So like what do they believe in? What's cool about that culture that you took away that's like, yeah, I understand it. You know what I'm saying? Like makes a lot of sense to me as well.
Yeah, Buddhism is there's very few like definitive denominations, you know what I mean? And it's seen more of like a culture and a way of life. It's very much ingrained in work culture and work life over there. And that's also one of the challenges about being a missionary, because it's difficult to separate those things and pull those things out from your life, from your day-to-day life, you know what I mean? So to come in and teach about, you know, somebody who they've never heard of in Jesus Christ.
Yeah, wild.
And to teach about, you know, things obviously that they've never heard of, but things that would cause them to completely step away from not even a religion, but a way of life over there and a culture over there.
Yeah.
And the king has the former king who's passed away. He had a famous phrase. This is all religions teach people to be good. And it obviously is very true. But that's like the first line you hear as a missionary when you're over there. You want to bring up Jesus Christ. You want to talk about the church. And that's like the first line out of the mouth is hey, you know, all religions teach to be good. We accept all religions.
Yeah.
And so that's like obviously some friction there to overcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, amazing people, amazing culture. Culture I hope I'm involved with till the day I die. Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Obviously there for 2 years, you guys come home. Why suits? Let's dive into the suit thing.
Why suits? I mean, at that point, I am going to Weber State, working as a teller at Zions Bank, studying finance.
Just killing it, dude.
Killing it at like $10.50 an hour. Some friends from the mission, we just like started importing suits here and there for friends and family, because
is it just contacts that like did you guys get suits made on the mission?
Yeah.
Is it just like, hey, this is the go-to person?
Yeah,
pretty much the whole mission field. It's like, go to this guy.
Yeah. We got a few suits made when I was there that I thought were awesome. In hindsight, were horrific. But you come home and you wear one of those suits, and your buddies ask like, "Hey, where'd you get that? Can you get me one? It's custom fit." And so we poke around over there, call some contacts, talk to a few members, get a few referrals, and we start taking really shoddy measurements and just ordering these one-off.
Yeah.
And bringing in, 5, 10 at a time.
Yeah.
Grows a little bit from there. More and more demand, more people hear about it, more people see about it. And so...
What was like your original business model? Like there's 3 of you, right?
There was no model.
There was no model. But there's 3 of you, right? So like you 3 just kind of like, hey, if you guys want one, we'll get you one.
Yeah.
Just kind of word of mouth type of stuff.
Pretty much.
And at what point were you like, hey, I think we can actually do something with this?
Yeah, I forget the exact like inflection point when we like flipped the switch. Hey, this should become something.
Yeah.
It was somewhere probably 6 months to a year after that. And even then it wasn't like an official business plan. It was, hey, let's just like set up this side gig. You know, maybe we can bring in a little extra cash. One of my business partners, he took off to do an internship at Boeing. Like it wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
Like you're still just bringing it in as a side gig, trying to make a few bucks, pay the bills. You know, that was it. So, and I forget when the exact like inflection point when we, flipped the switch and said, let's go for it. I mean, that was probably, 10, 11 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
But we slowly got enough demand where we got to that point where, you're selling 1 a day, 2 a day. And you're like, geez, I'm making way more than Zions Bank's making. So
I'm at $11.50 an hour.
Yeah. What are my options here? What can I do? What can I figure out?
Yeah.
And, we ended up raising a little bit of money from just a family office down in Utah County. I think it was $100,000 or something.
Yeah.
And our plan at that point was to build out like a sales team. We didn't really think about didn't really think retail was the future at that point. It was, let's go get, I mean, at the time I was getting hit up all the time for summer sales recruits and Vivin and pest control. And I never did any of it, but we kind of had the same thought in our heads. Like, what if we can build a 25 person team? And it's not door-to-door sales, but corporate gigs, things like that. Like, let's spread the word and see how many suits we can sell. And so from there, I mean, we had a little bit of money, a little bit of investment. That plan did not work. Did not work at all.
Why didn't it work?
It didn't work because, I mean, we talked about that for a long time. Primarily, I think that a sales process like that needs to be run by bona fide sales guys and managers with a system and a process. And we were hiring guys in Pittsburgh and Vegas and Texas.
It's all over the place.
Anybody that wanted in was in, you know, and there was no real training protocol. There was no real like touch points or professionalism on our part. It was just like, hey man, like we're doing it, like see what you can do.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, it was so bad.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
That's awesome. So how long did you guys kind of run that model and then decide like this is just not even going to work for us?
We ran that for a couple of years, maybe a year and a half.
Yeah.
And we actually had, at that point, there was a few other companies in Utah starting to pop up. And they were not manufacturing, but they were sourcing stuff out of Bangkok.
Yeah.
And so we approached them and we said, hey, like, let us handle this for you. One of the guys didn't even speak Thai.
Yeah.
Like, let us handle this for you. You pay us an order fee. Like, we'll be your back end sourcing fulfillment guys.
Yep.
And we'll just take a cut of your order.
Yeah.
And he was like, great, get this off my hands. I can't do it. I can't deal with it. I don't know what I'm doing. And so we took that on, picked up another one. And then the wheels started turning in our heads. Like, you know, what are our opportunities with manufacturing here? Because we've got a skill set, you know, we speak Thai, got connections over there.
Yep. We
know what we're doing over there. We're definitely not like fashion guys. We're definitely not like Vivin sales bros.
Yeah.
So what value can we provide?
Yeah.
Like, we can provide some manufacturing experience, some supply chain expertise, some help. And so
talk to me really quick. So obviously you guys had some contacts back in Thailand, right?
Yeah.
You just hit them up and said, hey, we're going to start building a couple suits. You guys get rolling, start doing a couple more suits. At what point did you guys get serious about like, hey, we probably need to figure out Thailand workers, adding an actual production shop? Like at what point was that like, hey, we need to go figure out Thailand before we keep selling like a lot of suits?
Yeah, it was about that same point as we started manufacturing. I guess not technically manufacturing, but we started handling orders for other companies.
Yeah.
There was a small shop in Bangkok that we're getting all of our stuff from. And we essentially went to this guy who'd been making suits for 30 years. He had maybe a half dozen employees at the time. And we said, you know, what will it take for you to be our exclusive, or for us to be your exclusive customer pretty much? Like, get rid of all your other business, all your other suits that you're making for anybody else, and you only make for us. And I can't even remember the number now. It was 9-10 years ago. He said his number. We said, okay, we'll guarantee you that payment every month. We didn't know if we could or not.
Yeah.
And that was it. So now we had our own quote unquote shop because he was our guy,
yeah.
You know, and he and his dozen employees or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so at that point we had like some legitimacy to it. I mean, we started to buy some new machines and figure things out and try to grow that as much as we could and bring on more people. And we're still slinging suits at the same time. Like, me and my partners, we were the sales guys. We were bringing all the suits in. I mean, At that point you're selling for, we got some crazy deals at that point just by hustling. I mean, we were making suits for Celine Dion's orchestra in Vegas. We were making suits for professional athletes, flying to Green Bay, Washington Redskins, like fitting up all these NFL guys. Yeah. I mean, and fast forward to today, I mean, you see like Troy Aikman, he's wearing our suits. John Cena's wearing our suits. We've made suits for Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, we go on and on.
Who are those people?
Yeah.
No, that's pretty dope. And is it a lot of it now, like, just because of the hookups of you guys basically being the manufacturer of the suits, that a lot of people are now coming to you guys to say, hey,
Yeah.
You know, we want to sell your suits basically. And you got a lot of the other shops or companies.
Yeah.
Like,
So to understand that, you got to understand how this market works. And really, if you're in downtown LA or New York City,
yeah,
and you want to buy a custom suit, right?
Yeah.
You walk into the retail store, there's a really good chance, greater than 75% chance, that they're going to like one of 3 or 4 massive factories in China. That company's outsourcing to China to get that custom suit built.
Yep.
It's a broken process. They shut down for a month every year during the Lunar New Year.
Yep.
They don't speak English. They're not open 9 to 5 like we are. And it's just a really difficult process. I mean, there's a few big factories that do it really well, but for the most part, like especially for the smaller shops, it's tough to find a manufacturer that can make a suit for you.
Yeah.
Nobody's making it themselves, that's for sure. And so as we talked to more people and talked to more stores who had manufacturing problems, that's kind of when the light bulbs went off on our head is, hey, we could actually build something here.
Yeah. So you guys could obviously take care of their problem of like 1 month shutdown, actually get the product a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We can let us do this for you, and we can do this in Thailand for probably a better price, way better service, get it to you way faster, better quality, give you way more control. And that's the easiest sales pitch out there.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to a small business owner who's trying to sell a few suits a day, and you take that problem off their hands, and of course, sign me up for that.
Yeah.
And so we did that. I mean, we're doing that in Bangkok for a few years, just with our head tailor and his employees. And then it got to the point where we thought like, hey, we've actually got to build something legitimate. We were having some product issues, some quality issues. I mean, these suits that we were making in Bangkok were good quality, definitely not best in the world. And so you get some complaints on your canvassing, your shoulder pads, or how the suit's constructed. And we thought, hey, if we're going to go approach like a big dog, if we want to go get a Brooks Brothers or somebody like this to go manufacture for, we need to bring in some real expertise, build a legitimate factory, and see what we can do here.
Yeah.
So fast forward a couple of years, our head tailor was from a town called Ubon, which is northeast about, 10 hours by bus. And we thought, hey, what if we move him back home to his hometown, bring his employees with him, and let's see if we can build a manufacturing facility in this hometown of his.
Yeah.
Fast forward to today, we're at 300 employees.
No way.
Making thousands of suits a month, shipping suits all over the world, making suits for professional athletes, for the Corps of the 12, anybody that you can think of, we probably put a suit on their back in terms
Rhett
of
Weaver.
like Rhett Weaver. Yeah. So
there's biggest client, I think,
there's
right? I just bought like 9 jackets from you, bro.
That's right.
It wasn't very cheap.
And you look good, right?
No, well, talk to me. I think the questions that come to my head is like, where's the material coming from? Are you guys getting that out of China? Is it made in Thailand as well?
Yeah.
Like, where's the actual material of the suits coming out of? And how do you set up that whole sourcing and, you know, making sure you're staying out in front of like the new patterns, the new looks, the new colors and everything like that?
Yeah, good question. So right now, I mean, we operate primarily as just the manufacturing backend for these companies. So we built a software that handles order processing, order tracking, fulfillment, and we plug that into these companies that we manufacture for. And we are really, really hands off on style, on, you know, what's trendy, what's coming in. I mean, we'll give them the latest and greatest fabrics from fabric mills all over the world, but it's kind of up to them to figure out what their spring and fall collections are going to be. But these are legitimate stores, you know. I mean, you've got Q Clothiers in Texas has a dozen stores. You got, you know, New York City, California, all over the place. I mean, these are legitimate retail stores. This is what they do. We're just their manufacturing backend. Yeah. But in terms of like, where's this stuff coming from? I mean, we operate on a cut length basis. So we have literally 10,000 swatches you can pick from. And I can get you.
I was going to say, every time I meet with you, you're like, what color? And I just sit there and stare at you and say, well, what have other people ordered? What looks good?
Well, it's, you know, what has other people ordered? There's a lot of stuff. Like, we can get you a navy blue pinstripe from Loro Piana in Italy, or we can get you a navy blue pinstripe in England. We can get that all over the world.
Yeah.
But we also have like our house fabrics that we stock, and that's like your signature levels, your navy blues, grays, and things like that. We just keep all that stuff in-house.
Yeah.
But we don't make any fabrics.
Okay.
We're buying that from England, from Italy, from Hong Kong, all over the place.
So how do you guys even manage that, right? How much, like, how do you know what material you want to buy, how much of it you want to buy, and how do you know what's going to sell? Because like every time you come see me, it's like, here's 5 books. Let's open up the books.
Yeah.
And then you're going through hundreds of colors.
Yeah.
And then it's overwhelming. And it's like, dude, you should have just brought me one book with like 9 colors and I would have said yes to all of them. So how do you manage that side of the business of making sure like you're not wasting material or, you know, you're not losing any money on the material side of stuff and just making sure it's done right?
Yeah. That's been one of the most beneficial things about this business is that you can operate with very, very minimal inventory. With traditional inventory-based businesses, I mean, you can only grow as fast as you can fund your inventory.
Yeah.
And you get, especially in clothing, I mean, if you want to sell jeans online, I mean, you need at least 5 washes, right? 5 different colors and washes. And each one of those washes, you need to provide 5 different waist sizes, 9 different lengths. And so you're housing, you know, dozens and dozens of SKUs just to sell a pair of jeans.
Correct.
And if you're not on top of that or have the funding or the lines of credit to take care of that, I mean, that's how you go under.
Losing a lot of money.
Sure. Yeah. So the beautiful thing about our business is we've set it up to be all on a per order basis.
I was going to say, you're just drop ship.
Yeah. So our software will automatically order the fabric, and it's sophisticated enough now. It always hasn't been this way, but now it'll take your body measurements into account. We know that Rhett Weaver is... What are you, 6'2"?
I feel like every time you come see me, I just get judged too, right? So every time you come to see me, you're like, do I need to remeasure you or not? I'm like, will you remeasure me? And then you do it and you're like, waist is an inch bigger. I'm like, thanks, Cole. Appreciate it, bro. You know, it's like straight up judgmental time when Cole comes over.
The reason I do it is because I need to know how much fabric I need. So what our software will do now is it'll say, Rhett Weaver is this tall, this weight, his chest size is this, and it automatically calculates exactly how many yards we need based on the pattern of the fabric. And then that'll automatically order it from the factory that you choose.
So you guys aren't even really See, in my head, dude, I think you just got these big spools of material and they go over there. They just cut them with some scissors.
No, I push submit and it sends an order to our mill in Italy, and it'll ship us 3.5 yards of the pinstripe you just chose, and it'll show up in our factory a week later.
That's wild.
With your order number on it, and they'll put it on the line and make it to your specs. So, I mean, you have to inventory some stuff. Yeah. The raw materials, canvassing, shoulder pads, buttons, stuff like that. But it's been really beneficial for us to be able to run that business on a cut length basis. Because then you can just take it to the moon. I mean, sell as much as you want. You have no inventory. Yeah. So you don't have to worry about selling out. You don't have to worry about.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So it's been great.
What's the worst part of the business for suits?
The worst part of the business is personal preference is always going to be a factor.
Go into detail on that.
Everybody's opinion on pant length is completely subjective. Yeah. So we can be as good as possible. We can be the best in the world at making a pair of pants, and this guy likes it a 1/4 inch longer than what we made it.
Makes sense.
Know? And it's been, you know, for freaking 12 years, we've been trying to figure out how to sell suits online. And that's always the thing that's most difficult is we have algorithms. We can even measure you by hand. We can do all these things, and we can send you what we think is a perfect fitting suit by textbook definition. Your shirt sleeve will stick out a 1/4 inch. Shoulders are perfect. Sleeves are perfect. Pants are perfect. And the guy will hate it. You know, I like my sleeves longer. My shoulders are too tight. My pants are too short. Yeah. And so there's always going to be that back and forth. And then it's all about, you know, your customer service at that point and what you're going to do to make them happy, which we'll do anything. Yeah. Bend over backwards, do whatever we need to make it right. But that's the toughest part about doing it at scale on a retail basis, which is probably the thing that pushed us into manufacturing, because we don't have to deal with any of that. Yeah. You know, we are only making suits according to the spec that the store gave us. Yeah. They took the measurements as their customer. They send us the order through our software, and we make it exactly how they tell us to, and we ship it back. Yeah. Pants are a 1/4 inch too short, then they got to alter that in-house. Yeah. So we've kind of wiped our hands clean of most of that stuff.
Makes sense.
But that's why you don't really see any big brands that do custom suits well nationwide. I mean, if I asked you to name one, you could probably say like Indochino. But they've raised like $50 million and they're probably not even profitable, and they've really, really struggled.
I mean, I think growing up, like especially in your 20s when you try and go buy suits, it's like, I don't know, for me, I don't know why Express comes to my head, but it's like you walk in and put on one of those and you're like, this is crap. Like it doesn't fit at all.
Yeah.
You know? And so then once you get one custom piece of clothing, then you can't go back. You're stuck forever.
And your measurements are data-based. So you just text me and say, give me another white shirt. It's easy, just like that. You don't have to do any measurements. It's just easy. Can't beat it.
Golly, dude, just door dashing suits. That's what it is, Cole.
Yeah.
What's the best part of the business? Like, what have you loved the most about it?
The business it's been fun of late because what we've been doing is we've been really growing the manufacturing business.
Yeah.
And we've actually been taking minority equity stakes in these companies that we manufacture for.
It's awesome.
And that's fun. I like playing that game.
Yeah.
You know, I like playing. That's why I started another company as well. I just like the game for the game itself.
Yep.
You know, and that's fun to really expand that, grow that. And it's fun to think like, who knows, you know, where that could be 10 years from now, who you're manufacturing for.
Correct. Let's talk about the game, dude, because you brought it up. Because I talk about it a lot. Like, there's going to work and like making a living, and then like at some point it's a game.
Yeah.
Like at what point did it become a game for you, and why do you call it a game?
At what point did it become a game? It became a game, I think, when I realized I was actually good at it.
Yeah.
And that I wasn't intimidated anymore by it. I mean, I think back to like our investor meetings with that group we took investment from early on. I mean, I was like 22 years old, still in college, didn't even know how to read a balance sheet, didn't know anything about business. And I would be just like terrified for those meetings.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to ask me a question I don't know.
Yep.
What am I going to say when they ask about common stock versus preferred stock? And as you get some more experience and work through some of those things, and like you've played the game for a while, you know how to do it. Then it becomes fun. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, a lot of confidence.
Yeah, you know how to strategize. You know what to do. You know how to make a plan, go get the plan, and it just becomes fun.
Yeah,
it's a fun game.
And then trying to see the vision come into fruition, right?
Yeah,
that's what I always feel like.
And hoping
right?
it does.
I hope it does.
Yeah,
that's what I always say, because like the game is fun for me right now because it's not just about, you know, writing loans for people anymore. It's like, how do we grow a business? How do we hire people? You know, how do we get more agents to come to work for us? And really, the game just turns into, really, how can I convince people to work for me? You know what I'm saying? And that is probably the best part, because it's all about more about the relationships between people and not so much about the monetary value of just like slinging a loan for somebody, right? And talking rates and fees. And that's probably the same for you. It's probably been more fun over the last couple of years, you know, selling suits to high profile individuals, getting to know a lot of companies, especially probably seeing the manufacturing side just take off. That's probably been a blast for you, and that's probably why it's a little bit more of a game for you. Yeah,
and you at some point, like if you've made enough money, I'm not there yet. If you've made enough money, then you have to justify, you know, why am I going to take this business trip and spend time away from my family?
Yeah.
Is this just purely selfish reasons? Am I doing this for my own pride? And I think, you know, you got to weigh that balance of like, I'm playing the game, but is the game worth it? Am I getting true value out of the game? But like you said, there's so many ways. You're bringing people along, you're recruiting people, you're helping people be their best selves. You're really influencing people's lives. And I kind of roll my eyes at the cliches of like, I'm going to change the world and blah, blah, blah. But it really does come down to that. Yeah. You know, if you can help somebody be the best version of themselves and provide them an opportunity to grow and develop and to make more money and to do those things, I mean, yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I love it.
It's a blast.
I always joke around with you that you made a mistake, right? You took a little bit of an exit from the company, sold a portion of it off. Like, talk to me. Obviously, nobody could have predicted COVID. Nobody could have predicted what happened during that time, you know, especially in the suit company. Yeah. But why did you feel like, hey, suits aren't for me anymore? I'm tired of this. I'm kind of worn out. I want to go on to the next thing. Like what was kind of your mindset of like, we're doing really well, this is successful, but I kind of want to balance and do something different?
Yeah, at that point, I mean, that was pre-COVID. We were at a point in the business where a really, really good business, and it was going to be an amazing business for a couple guys.
Yeah.
And the way that we worked together as partners, it could have been a really good business. There was 4 of us involved. But I had some other aspirations. I wanted to really swing at something big. I wanted to dabble in e-commerce and do some other things. And my other partner, who took an exit at the same time as me, he had some other goals as well. He wanted to go acquire another business and kind of do his own thing. And we still today have an excellent relationship. I mean, I'm still involved, still have ownership, still best friends. We text each other every day. I think at that point, I wanted to swing for something bigger. I wanted to, and that's not to say like what we were doing wasn't big enough for me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to put off that impression, but I wanted to, you know, make my mark, do my own thing, try something new. I had been at it for 7 years, and I thought, like, doing suits for 7 years, let's try something else.
Yep.
You know, in hindsight, probably shouldn't have sold. But it's all right. You know, you live and you learn.
But so I guess let's chat a little bit about it. Obviously, you sold. You know, you still got ownership in the company.
Yeah.
At this time, obviously, you're married. How many kids you got?
2.
2 at that time when you sold.
I had 0 at that time.
You had 0 that. So
Yeah.
you guys got busy during COVID then.
Yeah.
So I guess pre-COVID a little bit. But I guess, like, what is that conversation with your wife on, like, hey, honey, I'm going to exit from this and we're going to go start something else up? Like, dude, how old are you at that time? 28, 29, 30?
27, 28.
27, right in that area?
Yep.
So what is it like going into your wife and saying, hey, I'm leaving this company that we just built for 7 years. It's doing actually pretty well, and I'm going to go start something else?
Yeah.
What's that conversation like?
My wife's amazing, man. She trusts me implicitly.
Yeah.
Didn't even blink. Said, great, go for it. Go do it. Didn't.
So as she said, when you went to her, you said, I'm getting out of the suit game, getting out of the clothing, and we're going into children's drinks. We're gonna go into some powders now, honey. Like, she was like, just go for it, dude.
Yeah.
Just do your thing.
Honestly, that's what she said.
Yeah.
She said, yeah, I trust you. Go for it.
It's awesome.
And at that point, I would not have walked away from HM Cole if I didn't already have something lined up and ready to go.
Yeah.
One of my good friends from high school, he was running another company at the time, same time as me, and he was in the process of selling it.
Okay.
And so we had kept in touch as we both were growing companies at the same time of, like, you know, is there a day we could work together, do something together? And he had a skill set that I didn't have, and I had one that he didn't have. So we thought maybe, you know, we could put our heads together and make something work. And we actually had a Google Doc that had, 25 business ideas on it. And I can't even remember most of them today. But we landed on this space, kids nutrition primarily.
Yeah.
Because of a few factors. One, there's a huge gap in the market that nobody was paying attention to it the way that we thought it should be. No one was giving it the attention it deserved.
Are you just saying there's no real products out there for children as far as, like,
yeah, the
really
products
healthy stuff
that we wanted to make primarily. Yeah. 2, this was a business that we could outsource manufacturing on. We'd both come from manufacturing. I was doing manufacturing on the other side of the world. It's difficult. It's really hard. So this is a business we could outsource that, and this was an e-commerce business. This is the golden age of Facebook and Google ads and everything, and we thought we could just take this to the moon on e-commerce. You know? Yeah. And so this business kind of fit all those categories, and we knew nothing about it, nothing about how to get a product made, nothing about FDA compliance, nothing about ingredients or allergies or anything. We just thought, we got experience doing something. Let's give it a shot. We see a gap in the market.
So did you guys look into any of this before you said, let's do this?
I mean, kinda, but you really can't. Like,
you got to go all in.
You got to go all in.
You got to go out and
you got to burn the canoe, man. You got to go all in.
Yeah.
If not, it's too easy to walk away.
Yeah.
And at that point, I had walked away. I had already burned my proverbial canoe. I had to figure something out.
Yeah.
You know? So we had a whiteboard writing down product ideas, primarily for kids. He had 2 kids at the time. I had one on the way. And we started hashing out what products we could make, and we started cold calling local supplement manufacturers in Utah. And I toured almost every facility in the state of Utah and they would ask me questions and I would have no idea what to say. We had never done this before. We didn't know what we were doing. We just knew we could sell e-commerce. He had a lot of experience there.
Yep.
I had a lot of supply chain experience, and we just figured we could make it work somehow.
Yeah.
And we both had some cash from previous businesses to put in and get it off the ground. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't get paid for the first 3 years running this thing.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that luxury, I mean, you got to figure something else out.
Yeah. So two guys that have no idea how to put products together, have an idea of starting a drink line. So how did you guys hire it out? Who did you get with to actually put it all together and make sure that A, it was good tasting, B, how do you go through the FDA approval, and then C, you know, where's it getting drop shipped from for you? Is it coming out of Utah? Did you guys end up deciding somewhere else?
Yeah, so I assumed it needed FDA approval. It does not, which was great. FDA does not approve supplements at all. They're completely hands off. So that was an easy one to overcome.
Is that a good thing or bad thing?
It's a necessary thing. The FDA is so heavily regulated and so slow. They're primarily for food and drug. Yeah. It's necessary. It has to be that way. There's no way we could make products and get them approved. It would be a several year process. Okay. You know? Yep. But that said, like, most people have no idea what's in the stuff they drink, usually for worse. I was going to say for better or worse, but for worse.
I feel that way. I mean, you just kind of go to like a product and you think like, oh, it's got a cool label. Looks like they've got some reviews. Let's just buy this. Let's try this. Especially with like workout stuff.
Yeah, it's probably crap.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like whatever you're ordering, it's like, I'll try this company this time, or I'll try this next product this next time. And you really have no idea what's in it because there's 50 different chemicals. Yeah. And I always laugh because I'm like, are you sure in my scoop it's going to have all 50 of those? Yeah. Making sure it actually has it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, So like the world that you're playing in, you know, where did you guys end up deciding on manufacturing? Who was the one that kind of put it all together as far as the ingredients and stuff like that? Yeah. Like, how do you decide on that when you have no idea what you're really doing?
Yeah. So for us, we had to start with one product. We wanted to make one product that could be, in theory, everything a kid needs on a day-to-day basis, because that's where we saw like the true gap in the market, in that beyond Pediasure, there's not like an Athletic Greens. There's not something I can just give my kid and feel like, okay, he got everything he needs today. He's good. Yeah. You know, I mean, that's kind of the sales pitch from Athletic Greens is take this green powder in the morning and you're good. Yeah. And it makes you feel better about eating a burger in the afternoon because you had your Athletic Greens in the morning. And so we had kind of a similar thought process, is like Pediasure is just artificial flavors and colors, and it's really expensive, and you can buy 6 at a time on the shelf at Smith's. And so we came up with a product that was a complete multivitamin that had half a dozen fruit and vegetable powders in it, that was going to be that. It was going to be like, give this to your kid once a day, and it's everything your kid needs to be healthy, and you can not worry about it any longer. Yeah. It was a good product. Wasn't a great product. We went through a manufacturer it's called Turnkey. So you give them an inception, you pay an R&D fee. Typically they'll own the formula though if they develop it. Yep. You go through them for your packaging and everything, and you pay the invoice and you get 10,000 units or whatever you ordered. It's easier than you think, honestly. Really? And that product was okay. Wasn't great. And so our next product that we made was a chocolate milk, and that's where it really took off. Yeah. That was a no-brainer. Same problem that every parent faces. You know, I mean, I've got 2 toddlers right now, and we just got back from Disney World, and they only ate corn dogs and ice cream for a week.
Sounds like a vacation club.
But they got their Mighty Milk at night. Yeah. And I felt good about it. Yeah. Because they got some organic protein, they got organic spinach leaves, they got their probiotics, they got everything they needed for that day. Yeah. And that's where it really took off. And that's one that really resonated with people, because it was one that kids wanted. It was a product that kids wanted to take. Yeah. And it was a painkiller for the parents. I forget who said it, but somebody in the food and beverage space, they said you'll sell way more painkillers than you will vitamins, because people need a painkiller. Correct. And there's no feedback loop on a vitamin. Correct. You take it,
you don't feel anything.
You don't feel anything. Yep. And so if you can frame that as a painkiller, give your kid this chocolate milk, instead of Nesquik, he wants it. It tastes amazing.
Yep.
And it's everything your kid needs on a day-to-day basis. Like that's your painkiller as a mom,
Yep.
you know? And so that messaging, we didn't get it right the first time, but we definitely got it right the second time. And that's where things really started to take off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of this business?
My favorite part of this business right now, I think is because now we're a legitimate player. It's the game. It's what can we do?
Yeah. Where could this go?
What are our retail prospects? What are our opportunities for new products down the road? We've got a Mighty Milk 3.0 in the works right now that we're going to add some DHA and some more vitamins and minerals. And that's going to be truly a world-class product.
Yeah.
One that any mom in America would just die to give their kids every single day.
Yeah.
For how good that is for kids in their development. And so to think about that, that's fun for me. It's fun to blend that with not only what can we do, but what impact can we make along the way.
Yep.
We started off with some really high expectations for some philanthropic causes and donations to these initiatives, and it was more difficult to find profits to donate than we thought. But now that we're more established and things are heading in the right direction, we're getting back to that. You know, how can we blend some philanthropy in this, and really from some kids initiatives, and what can we do to help kids that don't have enough to eat, and what can we do for malnutrition and things like that. And that's where it gets fun. Yeah. You got resources to throw behind it. You got some things to do. It gets fun.
Yeah. What's the worst part about e-commerce?
Apple, in the sense that Apple killed the whole model about 1.5 years ago, almost 2 years ago.
How? You're just saying
with their privacy update, iOS 14, and then again iOS 15, they prohibited primarily Facebook, but most ad platforms from tracking you across apps unless you opt into it.
Yeah.
And so before iOS 14, we were paying $18 to acquire a customer. After iOS 14, we were paying like $50. I mean, it just
to try and track them basically from Google searches and different things
like that. There's no data.
That.
You're just advertising blind, you know.
Really?
So when you say like, what's the most difficult thing about e-commerce? It's really finicky and it changes on the fly.
Do you think that will ever change? Or
Never.
Do you think never?
Never, because if Facebook goes, it'll be Snapchat. And if Snapchat goes, it's TikTok. And if TikTok goes, it's something else.
Yeah.
And so it'll never change.
Yeah.
Which is good and bad. I mean, if you know what you're doing, you can make a killing, but don't rest on your laurels because it'll change tomorrow.
Have you guys ever gotten to like the influencer side of stuff with the company? Like have you guys had people push it for you?
Yeah.
Has that been any good?
Not really.
I always wonder that, right? Because you see like a lot, and obviously there's influencers doing really well, especially in this area. But that's what I always wonder. Like when you get 2 or 3 posts and that's it, does it really move a product? You know?
Yeah.
Or is it more about brand awareness? Is there, is it just something that's like, we don't even track the ROI on that. It's more just like, hopefully this gives us some awareness with our brand. And, we can't really fully track if new orders are coming from that or not.
Yeah, there was definitely a golden age of influencers. In the same way there was a golden age for Facebook. 2014 through 2017, everybody was killing it on Facebook that advertised there. I mean, you were paying less than $1 per click, like crazy CPMs. I mean, it was so cheap to advertise, and influencers were the same way. You could pay somebody who was really hungry $100, and they had 10,000 followers or whatever it was.
Yep.
And at that point in time, all 10,000 people would see the post.
Correct.
But fast forward, not only has the market just completely shifted, and now that same person who has 10,000 followers would charge $1,000 instead of 100.
Yeah.
They post, and maybe 10% of their followers will actually see it.
It's very
just
true.
Because how the algorithm is.
Yep.
And so when you combine those things together, it's a tough slog, man. I mean, we've lost a lot of money paying people
trying that stuff.
Yeah. A better route, I think, is just an affiliate model, where you pay. They get 10, 15, 20% of sales, and they just post organically when they want to. No contracts, no strings attached. And when they see the frequency of posts, it's more real.
Makes sense.
People get ad fatigue. I mean, you see somebody who's posting and it says sponsored in the corner, and you're like, I'm not that interested.
Yep.
But if it feels organic, it feels innate, they see it half a dozen times, then it's more responsive.
I know Danny and I, obviously my videographer's in the room, but we were chatting about this before you showed up because I was complaining. I'm like, the amount of basically ads that are in stories now on Instagram.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's annoying.
It's insane.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And they're really good because it's like I always sit there and second guess myself. I'm like, am I really following this account or something? Like stuff's just popping up all over the place, and it's like, why would I be following them? And that's like sponsored, So just clicking through it. So no, I agree. I feel like the hard part moving forward with e-commerce is, I don't know. It'll be interesting. It's almost like you should just be able to opt in on like what you need, and then that's the only stuff showing up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like I see the pinch that Facebook's in. I mean, their Facebook's or their stock's way down. They just reported Q4 earnings, and it was 3 years in a row of losses year over year over year. So how do you solve that? You either have to charge more, your CPMs have to go up, or you have to increase the ad frequency.
Yeah.
And so from a public company standpoint, like their hands are kind of tied, and they've got to just push. And thankfully those ads are at least relevant.
Yep.
You get on Twitter and it's ads for like Velveeta cheese and who knows what. Like,
no, it's very true. I mean, I still click into it and buy stuff.
Yeah, you still buy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like when different clothing brands or Nike or something pop, like stuff that I'm interested in. What I was laughing about before we even started this whole thing is I'm like, you can tell Valentine's is coming up because my whole feed's on like jewelry or women's wear or like swimming suits or flowers, and I'm like, how is my feed just chock full of all this stuff that I've never even like wanted to look at or care about right now, And I don't know, maybe it's my wife sending me like, hey, buy some diamond rings and some flowers for Valentine's Day. I don't know.
Could be.
It could be cute.
Yeah, I think I'm not a huge user of Instagram, to be honest. I mean, I get on once or twice a day. But I think what's fun about e-commerce and what's fun about playing this game, it's fun about being a quote unquote entrepreneur. I hesitate to use that word. I think it's thrown around way too much lately. But I think it's not talked about enough that you can teach yourself more than you think.
Yeah.
If you're willing to put 100 hours into something, I mean,
correct.
You can do anything. Honestly, you can do anything.
Yep.
With YouTube videos available, free courses. And I think that's what it comes down to is a lot of people really aren't willing to put in that type of work. When we were first starting out, we had different ad agencies we were working with to run our ads for us, and I knew nothing. I mean, I was coming from manufacturing, clothing. I knew nothing about e-commerce and how it works. And we, you get a few bad experiences with ad agencies, and I'm like, man, I'm going to just freaking do this myself. Yeah. I'm going to put in the work and figure it out. And that's what it was. I mean, that was a couple 100 hours of YouTube courses.
But I think you hit it on the head earlier, right? Like the reason I think nobody spends the 100 hours is because number one, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And number two, they don't burn the canoe, right? Yeah. It's like, I've got a job, I've got family, I've got other things that I got to take care of. So like, I just don't even have the time. Like hopefully maybe if I'm laying in bed, I'll take a look at this stuff. Right. And that's what I feel like it happens to me a lot. It's like, oh, this is a good idea. Let's start let's take a look at it. And then you start to dive into it. And it's like, man, YouTube's got like 40 different videos and they're all 30 minutes long. And so I don't have 7 hours to watch this. And then like half the stuff I don't even want to listen to. It's not what I'm looking for. That's why I almost wonder like if GPT is like the next level.
Yeah.
Because I've been messing with it a lot and it's pretty amazing, like the data that it kicks out. I just wonder if that stuff becomes even better for like YouTube. Like, what are you looking at? If I can go in and type into AI and say, hey, I want to start this business or this company. This is the product I'm looking for. What I think I'm curious about over this next stage is like, what is it going to pump out to me, right? Like, here's the materials. Here's the places you can go get the materials from. Here's where the packaging is going to come from. Here's where you're going to ship it from. You know what I'm saying? And almost give me a full-on breakdown of like, it's that quick. Yeah. Where you spent hours and hours and hours of research traveling the whole state of Utah. I think stuff just gets bigger and better and faster as we continue to move forward. But I feel like time's the big thing here is like, how do I just put the time in? And it goes back to burning the canoes, what's your passion, what you love. And I think what a lot of people have a hard time too is understanding the game, right? Yeah. At the end of the day, we got overhead, we got bills to pay. it's a lot easier to be comfortable and just do your thing every day versus being stressed out starting a suit company, then trying to start a drink company. How do we live off of 3 years of not having any income, doing all that stuff.
Yeah. I also think that to play the game and to play it on a high level, I mean, the reality is you just got to have a few skill sets.
Yeah.
You got to have some financial acumen. You've got to know your way around a balance sheet. You've got to know some of the basics here. I mean, there's like a life coach movement I feel like is happening right now.
It's crazy right now.
And
they're all like 20 to 30 for some reason.
All the advice is the same. It's always like set goals, work really, really hard, be the hardest worker in the room.
But I feel like a lot of these life coaches, Cole, haven't even done what you've done. Like, this is what's funny to me about life coaches is it's like the majority of them have never built a multi-million-dollar business and sold something and had to go rebuild something. Like, there's quite a few of them that I know, and it's like, you've never built anything.
Yeah.
You've never started from the ground up. You've never grinded in the dirt. You were lucky enough to be a part of somebody else's plan, who you learned from, blew up from, took advantage of that. And don't get me wrong, whatever people build and do and make money off of, I think it's always amazing. They're doing something, right? That's, at the end of the day, people are doing something.
Yeah.
What you hit on the head is like, why would you go follow this person with a bunch of half-truths on what they've actually created when you can't even see their credentials on what they've actually truly built? That's what makes me laugh. And I feel like there's so many of them, like it's so easy just to jump online and be like, I'm this expert, or I'm, like, follow me for this, and it's like, you just choose something and go now.
I also kind of take issue with just like the work hard mentality. I mean, anybody can take like a Tony Robbins class and come out just all motivated to work hard. That's not what I do. And that's not how the game works for me.
It's definitely not motivation.
It's not, I can't just like work harder. I think it works in sales specific jobs. I think there's definitely a lot of careers that like, knock more doors, work harder, be the hardest worker in the room, follow the formula, and you'll have success.
But really what you're talking about, Cole, is consistency, right?
I'm talking about consistency, and I'm talking about how a lot of what I do, honestly, a good chunk of my day is usually headphones in. It's the Spotify Deep Focus playlist, and I'm like thinking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Strategy, products, what am I doing here? This. And I think that's like not talked about enough is A, you can really teach yourself the skills that you need, and B, you got to have some skills.
Yeah.
You got to bring something to the table here.
Got to add some value.
It's not going to be like, just go work hard and you'll figure it out. Like, work hard, man. Work way hard. But you got to have some skill sets to throw behind this thing.
And I feel like a lot of the skill sets, though, is like as you develop in what you're wanting to do, right?
Sure.
Like if I look at my 10-year career of doing home loans, what I know now, I didn't know at the start.
Yeah.
But all I did was try, got into it, figured it out, gained some confidence, got rolling, started working with a lot of people. And as you continue to move forward, it's like, well, what I know now in year 10 and the efficiency that I have now, like it took me hours in year 1 to figure that out. I can do it in minutes now, And so a lot of it is just the time. And that's what I think when we sit here and talk about life coaches, it's like you've got to put in a lot of time in the dirt to even understand how to make a business, right? Like I'm not flying to Bangkok tomorrow to start a suit company, but they want to sit here and talk about the motivational side of stuff versus the consistency side of stuff. And to me, that's who I want to be coached by is who's built businesses and who knows how to run a P&L, who knows how to run an actual shop. How are you going to train me to be better with my employees? How are we going to sell people? Give me some new ideas on how to move this thing forward and give me a rate on return on what I'm paying for versus just like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure Tony Robbins has changed millions of people's life of like helping them get moving.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, is Tony really the consistent man for me? Like the answer is no.
Yeah.
He's the motivational man, but Tony's been consistent on what he teaches. Yeah. That's why he's a multi-millionaire.
I mean, you got to get in the weeds with me and show me specifically something applicable to my business.
Correct.
And you have a really hard time finding that.
Yeah.
The things that I've struggled with is like, how do you how do I sell a product online? If you don't know how to do that, what are your options? It's Google, it's Facebook, it's YouTube, and show me some real hard skills there.
Yeah.
Don't just tell me to.
But it is awesome because there's so much free stuff at our fingertips now.
Yeah,
it wasn't there 10
age.
years ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy where this thing's going.
Yeah.
And that's why I think like it's a double-edged sword. It's going to get so much easier for a lot of people, but it's also going to get a lot harder for a lot of people that aren't getting out in front of what's going on right now.
Yeah.
You know, I guess kind of doing two businesses now. What's been the absolute joy of like watching these business, you know, now that you kind of look back at like Nourished, I know it's still early, but even looking at HM Cole and the success that it's had, like what's the cool part now looking backwards being like, man, I can't believe I built that stuff. Like what goes through your head like on a daily basis with that stuff?
Yeah, with HM Cole, I mean, just seeing what is, and I can send you a link to it. We have a promo video of our factory that we made to help recruit more people over there. And it's like, I just beam with joy when I watch it. I mean, it's this world-class factory. There's hundreds of employees in there. We really did make their life better. We're an American company with air conditioning. We pay a good wage. We offer paid time off. I mean, it's a world-class place to work over there.
Yeah.
And to watch that promo video that we made, and it goes through the factory and the lines and world-class machines and laser cutters and everything, like I just can't stop smiling when I watch that video. It's just like fun knowing where we were 12 years ago, trying to get that thing off the ground. Yeah. Selling suits where the sleeve went to like the forearm and like issuing refunds and all the struggle and the pain. I mean, it's like, it's fun. Like it's something now. Yeah. You know,
the one thing that comes to my mind, Cole, is like you took an opportunity, right? And I don't know your mindset on like serving a mission, if it was something that you always wanted to do, kind of just felt like you needed to do because of your parents or something like that. But I think this is the undervalued part of the church sometimes, and people that don't go on a mission, and who cares whether you do or don't. But if you would have never gone, none of this even happens, which is wild to me. Like, you learned how to speak Thai.
I'd still be a teller at Zions Bank.
Yeah, you probably would be, taking people's money. But like, that's the thing that I think runs through my head for you that's crazy, is it's like you learn another language because of the church. You were serving during that time. You ended up meeting a lot of people. What you thought was just cool to get a suit ended up coming into something much, much, much bigger. And now you're adding a lot of value back to that country that if you guys don't go, none of that even plays itself out.
Yeah, along those same lines, I used to be like a really hardcore goal setter. Yeah. And I'm really not anymore. I mean, I am in some ways. Like you gotta have high marks for your business. You gotta have goals, and goals have a way of pushing you month to month and quarter to quarter, and you have to do that for sure. And I do, and I buy in. But I'm specific to not think too far down the road anymore. It used to be like 5-year goals, 10-year goals, 20-year goals. Yeah. And now I'm to the point where like, who knows what's going to happen next year? 5 years ago, I was still at HM Cole full time and had no idea I'd even be doing what I'm doing at Nourished now. Yeah. And so I think you do yourself a disservice by looking too far down the road. I mean, you've got to just take the opportunities at your fingertips, see what you can make of them, and honestly, who knows what will happen even next year. Yeah.
One question that I like to ask everybody, like, how do you define success for yourself? Like, what is success for Cole?
Success for me, I mean, obviously, like you got to check the boxes that are necessities. Like you have a nice home, healthy family, some money in the bank, like you're good. But for me, success, I think one is joy in your daily routine. My daily routine is sacred for me. Yeah. And I hate to veer from it. I'm a 5 a.m.er, get up, read, gym, do my thing, make my smoothie. And that's like sacred time for me. Yeah. I find a lot of happiness in that. And then being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it, I think is way more valuable than money to me at this point. Yeah. I mean, I was skiing Monday afternoon. I'm going to go skiing again tomorrow, twice in a work week. I mountain bike in the summertime. Yeah. Pick up, do what you want to do when you want to do it. And all those boxes are checked, man. Like, it's pretty damn lucky.
It's pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So Cole, to kind of end it, I got probably one last question for you. We've both chatted a little bit about, skill set, adding value. You mentioned like the acquisitions now with especially the suit company of like, hey, we don't, we're taking a little piece of the pie everywhere we're going. Like, talk to me, or what are your thoughts on how your skill set is now really setting up your future and probably your kids, because at this age, like, I think we're all looking to invest, it's like George, our buddy's got a pickleball facility. It's like, how do I get in on that? How do I get on this other stuff? How do we invest in everybody that's doing stuff? Because like at the end of the day, I'm not going to be in the suit thing, but I wear your suits all the time. So I'm a smart man. I'm like, well, how can I get a piece of your pie?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I'm going to buy the suits, wear the suits, and be a part of it, it means I probably like it. So for you, like, what does the next couple years look like? How do your skills develop? And what do you think that's going to do for kind of your future?
Yeah. Yeah. Good question. There's a lot there. Well, we got a lot going on in Nourished behind the scenes. Some stuff we can't talk about yet, but it'll be a really big year for us.
Yeah.
Really big year that we're excited about. And so my skill set's going to definitely evolve as that takes off and as we continue to grow Nourished. But what do the next few years look like for me? I think that because I've taken money from people, I've raised money for both ventures now.
Yeah.
We've raised just under $1 million for Nourished so far. We've raised some money at HM Cole. Because I've had investors and because I've been in the trenches for over a decade, I think I would be a really good investor.
Yeah.
And not to say that our investors haven't been or aren't, but if you've been in the trenches before, you immediately can connect with people who are in the trenches. Yeah. And so I think I would be a good investor in that scenario. And so that's definitely like a dream of mine, 5, 10, 20 years from now is to not just like even take a piece of the pie, but really get in and help guys who are like me.
Yeah.
I see myself in this guy fresh off the mission, trying to figure things out. Doesn't have any money, doesn't have any real hard skill sets, but the guy's honest. The guy works really, really hard, and I'm going to bet on him. I'm going to give him an opportunity. I'm going to help him out.
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of guys who've done that for me, and I've been super, super grateful.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
And I think we've all got that in one shape or form, even if it's not a monetary value.
Yeah.
I think we've all got that mentorship or who we're, kind of aspiring to be like, or who we want to be around all the time.
Yeah.
No, I think that's awesome. I wish you the best, dude. I think Nourished is super cool. Hopefully it sells to somebody bigger than, I have no idea.
Appreciate
just
it.
Sell to Pepsi or something, dude. Just get some money.
Let's go.
Let's just move on to the next thing.
Let's go. Let's invest.
So, no, but I appreciate your time. I think there's a lot of great stuff that came out of this. I think life is wild. You've done a lot in a decade, and I think you're probably going to do a lot more than in the next decade. So I appreciate your time, dude. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Been an honor.